Welcome back to the Sports Talk ATL podcast. I'm Chase Irle at Sports Talk ATL Twitter, joined by Jake Gordon at Can't Guard Jake on Twitter and Alex Lord at Go Sports Talk on Twitter. Guys, the All-Star festivities in the MLB wrapped up last night, and I can firmly say I watched about 30 seconds in total. I watched Ronald Acuña's home run derby. He loses in the first round. And this is just a testament that I said this on Twitter. Some people were like, L. I don't really care what people say. All-Star sports, festivities, unless you're there, for the baseball festivities, which I will admit I went when I was like 5 because they robbed us of going last year, are the most boring things in sports. Like you couldn't pay me to watch that All-Star game last night on television. The NL scores 2 runs early, a nice home run by Goldie. Ronald Acuña hits a double. Stanton ties it up. I have no idea how the AL got the 3rd run, but boring game. The AL's won like 20 of the last 23 All-Star games, but I could petition to just like, hey, let's name these guys All-Stars and just do away with the games.
The home run derby is a staple, and I love the home run derby. It's about the only thing that, and maybe like the dunk contest has kind of lost its star power, honestly, outside of that Aaron Gordon competition a few years back. But the home run derby and maybe the 3-point contest are the only things worth tuning in for anymore, honestly. And I turned it off also after Ronnie lost, so I couldn't agree more, especially the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl is just garbage. That needs to be the first to go because they're just not even playing the game anymore. At least, at least in baseball, they're playing still.
The NBA too. Like the NBA All-Star game is just like, a glorified dunk contest. They just run around and do a bunch of weird crap. Like it's just not even worth watching. The home run derby, it is entertaining for about 15 minutes. And then it's just like, all right, I'm bored. Like it goes on forever.
They're literally taking batting practice.
Yeah.
They're taking batting practice.
Yeah, it's like unless you have one of your guys in it, like Acuña, like I'm obviously going to watch him that's in it. But other than that, it's like I have no interest. I guess the Albert Pujols thing kind of had me watching a little bit longer than I would have liked because I wanted to see if Granddaddy Albert could hit any homers. And somehow he beat Schwarber. I mean, that has to be rigged, right? Like there's no way Schwarber, who has hit literally probably 20 home runs in the last 30 games, live baseball games, loses a home run derby to Albert Pujols, who has 6 homers on the season and is a shell of who he used to be. Has to be rigged,
dude,
right?
I got some beefs with the home run derby. Number one, Tomas Perez. We might want to get that guy a contract.
Yeah.
He was throwing Ronald sliders like low and away. Like, what a psycho. Why the hell would you do that, dude? And I had Ronald at 19 and a half home runs. And, of course, he only gets 19 because Perez throws him like 20 pitches outside the zone. And I just don't understand, like, bro, just feed him fastballs down the middle. He's going to hit one 550 feet. And then my second beef is, for some reason, so the rule was if you get 2 home runs that are over 440 feet, you get an extra 30 seconds. They just gave it to Albert Pujols anyway. His longest home run was like 370 feet. And they were just like, oh, well, here's his extra 30 seconds. It's just bullshit. It's so stupid because the only thing I look forward to the home run derby was betting on it. And it was just clear that it was just a shit show from the start. So I'm with you. The All-Star game sucked.
I also saw they miscounted Schwarber's homers. Like I don't know how they don't have one designated guy, which I'm sure they do, but I don't know how he miscounts.
You could just have somebody out there doing this. Yeah.
And they probably, what's sad is it's probably not just one guy. It's probably like 10 guys. Yeah. And they all deliberated on it and were like, oh no, that's 14 or whatever it was. 13.
No, they miscounted and there was a shot clock violation. Like the clock was the clock wasn't running whenever, or the clock had already hit 0 by the time he hit his last one because he hit it on the last pitch to tie him.
I wouldn't be surprised if Manfred had Albert's balls juiced and Schwarber had those dead balls just for a little extra. And
I was way ahead of that take. The day he got announced, I was like, he is going to get those 2019 baseballs.
Yeah.
He's sending those bitches into orbit.
I mean, Perez deserves hate, but he didn't just come in there and start throwing off-speed pitches out of the blue. Like, Ronnie definitely had some sort of, conversation with him where he was like, this is where I want it. This is what I want. I think Ronnie's the guy who should be like, why did you ask for off-speed pitches? That guy's just not going out there throwing sliders. I mean, surely
I don't think it was sliders. I think it was like a cutter. I think it was like
a
cutter. Yeah, and I think he was accidentally doing it. But like the thing is, they definitely have had practice before. Like but hey, listen, there's pressure. There's probably more pressure for the pitcher than a guy like Ronnie, who just needs to flick his wrists to hit 50 bombs. Who's already a superstar, who's already an all-star. Like even if Ronnie went out there and hit 10 homers and completely embarrassed himself, which he would almost have to try to do, no one's going to be like, oh man, Ronnie, you suck. Like we all know this guy's a superstar. Now Perez, if he goes out there and shits his pants like he did on national television, it's his one moment. It's his one shining moment. I think there's a lot more pressure on the pitchers in these situations than the hitters, because, all these hitters are all stars. They're all, what do they got to lose? But the pitchers, this is their one moment on the big stage. And if you crap yourself, which it looks like Perez did, it's not a great look. The one thing I will say, though, is Ronnie does kind of like those outside balls that he can hit the other way. If you remember the last home run derby, he hit like all of his home runs the other way. So that might have been a plan, but I doubt he wanted that much movement on his pitches. I just can't imagine.
Go ahead, Jake.
Go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about who he lost to. Cheese Dick McGee. Alonso. I mean,
that's actually what I was going to say. I was going to say he didn't do that good either, because Ronnie definitely could have beat him if he was getting.
He is so annoying.
If he got the extra 30 seconds, he probably does win.
Yeah.
Ronnie only got one of the 30 seconds because he only hit one ball over 440 feet, which is crazy because Ronald Acuña's average home run distance this season on his 8 homers, 437 feet. So he didn't hit but he only managed to hit one homer over 440 feet. That's a little, you want to talk about dead balls. Maybe they wanted Pete Alonso to three-peat because that's a little questionable right there. Or maybe then again, Tomas Perez really needs to stop throwing cutters up there. But that's about all I got on the All-Star break. I think they need to do away with all these things. It's ridiculous. But yeah, Pete Alonso, cheese ball. Just a dork, bro. I mean, you would have thought this guy was going out for Game 7 of the World Series, and he's in a meaningless home run derby that literally nobody cares about. And I love that he just got ramrodded by Julio Rodriguez. Yeah. And Rodriguez was out there just having a fun time. First year in the bigs, doesn't care, hanging out with all the other Dominicans, relishing the moment with Albert Pujols. And fucking Pete Alonso's down in the batting cage, doesn't want to talk to anyone, meditating, taking deep breaths. This is Game 7 of the World Series.
Deadlifting?
Listen, dude, I'm just going to straight up say this. You talk about this guy's getting that, nervous, that needs that much meditation for a home run derby, bro. Welcome to the postseason, buddy. You're going to crap your pants. Welcome to a September playoff run. Now, wonder the Mets collapse every year because you got a guy like this leading your team. He can't even get ready for a home run derby. You can't even loosen up for that. I mean, that was just the dorkiest thing ever. And I see Mets fans saying, yo, why do people hate Pete Alonso? He's such a likable guy. What about this from the outside perspective? There's nothing likable about this man, just being a total weirdo.
He might be fragile.
He might be a nice guy, but it's just weird. It's just weird. Enjoy the moment. It's the home run derby. No one's taking it that seriously.
Mm-mm.
Well, he went to Florida and he plays for the Mets, so that's double reason for me to hate him. And I just think it's hilarious. It's like a PE with a kid that's just trying way harder than anybody else, loses the pickup basketball game. It's just fun to point and laugh, and you can't act like it's not.
Yeah, I stand by it that he's the most athletic person of all time. Just watching him warm up and a normal person goes smooth and sometimes one-handed. He's chopping wood to prepare for a ball.
He looks like Paul Bunyan, I will say. Listen, the guy can hit the hell out of a baseball. I'll give him credit. If there's one thing this dude can do, he can bomb baseballs. But he's just not a relatable dude at all. I don't know how anyone can say this man is likable. He's completely unrelatable. He's just a dork. There's no other way around it. You can tell he took, like Jake said, you can tell he takes everything way too seriously. You can tell, the way he interviews, everything about him, the way he dresses, the high socks, bro, you're 300 pounds, man. Put the socks down, bro. You look like a dweeb. There's just nothing.
He was deadlifting in full uniform. Uniform. That was
these dorky high. Who wears socks, your pants up to the knees these days? Nobody. That should be banned from baseball unless you just have the utmost best swag. I don't want to see this. You have to have swagger to do this. You can't be Pete Alonso.
That video of him deadlifting is hilarious.
And what are you doing? What is deadlifting 135 doing? He's got one plate on each side. You could have had Jake down there doing that. Like what is this guy doing? You almost wonder if there was a clone. Like there had to be a clone Pete Alonso, like his doppelganger. There's no way that had to be. That had to be fake Clay Thompson, like but fake Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that was actually him doing that shit. And then like he went to go do another lift. I don't know, like when they flash away, but like he didn't know what to do. It almost seemed like he went to go put weights on the bar. The whole thing was just hilarious. I will say though, I might like Pete Alonso might have gotten a little bit better in my book because he made me laugh. Like while I was bored out of my mind watching this, he did make me laugh. But let's get into a little bit of Braves talk. Austin Reilly, he did get in there and make the All-Star game, which was huge. So kudos to him. Well-deserved. I really think there's a good chance, just as hot as he is, hopefully the All-Star break doesn't cool him down. He could win the MVP award. I think he's in the top 5 in the NL race right now. And I don't think anyone's won that award yet. Machado's kind of slowed down. Dansby Swanson's there. Pete Alonso, we just talked about him. He's right there. But I think Austin Reilly, what has he got, 27 bombs right now? 27 bombs, 24 doubles, 23 doubles, something. I mean, he's on pace for 45 homers and 40 doubles, like you said. I think he's got a good chance at winning an MVP.
Yeah, definitely. Paul Goldschmidt's up there as well.
Goldie's having a fantastic year.
Yeah,
I forgot about him.
It just all depends on, how hot all of these guys come out in the second half of the year. Manny Machado, like you said, is great. Bryce Harper was a little bit there before he got hurt. I don't know how long he's even supposed to be
Bryce
out,
Bryce Harper's out of it. First of all, he won last year.
He was definitely up there though.
But you get voters fatigue 1 and 2, you're out. You miss another 40 games after winning the MVP. When you only played 130 games last year, there's no chance he wins it this year. But
Austin Riley's got a good chance, honestly, when you put it that way. I mean, it just depends on how those guys have a second half of the season. And it looks Austin Riley's hitting his stride. Like he hasn't been playing. Nobody's been playing better than him before the All-Star break. So hopefully he carries it over.
Yeah, I think the MLB had him as like when they do that stupid power hitting rankings or like MLB like hitter power rankings or whatever. So like for the hottest players, and Austin Riley was number 1 going into the break. Followed closely by Juan Soto. So, yeah, I definitely think – I mean, he's been the hottest player in baseball. When that guy gets hot, he's unbelievable. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that he's going to be a perennial, 300 guy that hits 40-plus homers every year. That's what the Braves got. So, I know we say it almost every episode. Hopefully we can get an extension done. The Braves entered 2.5 games behind the Mets in the wild card – or not in the wild card – in the NL East. And they got a pretty favorable schedule. I mean, I wouldn't say favorable, but they do start with the Angels, who have been playing some of the worst baseball. Then they have the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. Meanwhile, the Mets have the Padres and the Yankees. So a chance for them to make up some ground here. But the Shohei show should come into town Friday. That would be really exciting. Despite the Angels sucking, they got so much talent. But I want to get into this just stop tweeting because Acuña's been slumping. Do we have the tweet up? I know we were supposed to do this pod yesterday. I think it's just to everyone.
No, I don't.
I think it's just to everyone because I think I got about 30 or 40, tweet backs. Like when I, said, hey, it would be nice if Acuña gets out of this slump. And of course, I get, a bunch of dudes who are like, oh, he needs to go to AAA. Oh, he needs to stop lollygagging out there. Dude, the attitude is really killing his game. Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, do you rats just hide in holes waiting for this man to slump to just come out and say these just egregious takes? These egregious takes?
Yes.
I mean, it's
There's
ridiculous.
a reason for that, but
I mean, it's truly unbelievable. I mean, this guy is a generational talent. I mean, one of the best players in the game. And the guy goes on a little slump coming off a torn ACL. Like he doesn't have 20 bombs by the All-Star break. And people are just like, oh, it's because he's lollygagging. Oh, it's because he's showboating. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. Just stop tweeting. Just delete your account if you're tweeting this crap.
Yeah, he's slumping for, an MVP caliber player year in and year out. And he's still he's still putting up good numbers. Like he's still putting up good numbers. And people are just not used to it. Maybe he's making a couple mistakes in the outfield, and I think that can all be attributed to that ACL.
Yeah, I mean, it's just super weird that people, come out and say these things. I mean, you're talking about a guy who before his injury at the first half of last year was runaway MVP. I mean, Bryce Harper, he had like 4.1 WAR, I think, before his injury with like half the season left. And Bryce Harper ended the season with 5.5 WAR and won the MVP. So that just tells you how much ahead he was of every other player. I mean, I remember he actually finished with more or like just slightly less WAR than Freddie Freeman over the whole season. I mean, this guy was the best player in the National League, arguably the best player in baseball. And he tears his ACL, not this like little injury. Comes back in 10 months, plays pretty good, still makes the All-Star game, and goes on a little slump to end the second half. And we're going to start saying it's because he's showboats or all this crap. I mean, it's pathetic to bring out shit like that. So I just want to say, if you're listening and you believe that, stop listening to my podcast. Just stop. I don't want you, and stop being a fan of the Braves because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the slumping numbers aren't even like bad either. It's like you're just used to him hitting above 300 and on pace to hit 40 bombs, steal 40 bases, play Gold Glove defense, and he's all of those things that you said are attributed from the injury, and people just, expected him to come out and immediately just be his old self. And I'm sure he is taking it gingerly on his knee. I mean, you would too, even if it's subconscious.
They're probably telling him to.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're saying protect it in this way, protect it in that way. Don't be diving for balls out in the outfield and things like that. But, that's who he is. He's just an electric player. And it'll come, by August, we'll be seeing him do Ronnie things, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just realized this whole time I wasn't using my new camera. What a disappointment.
I thought you were going to say you weren't recording, and in that case, I was literally just going to shut off my laptop. This is the second,
No, we're recording. No. Yeah, we did try to record this yesterday, and my internet wasn't working. No, but we all got new cameras, and I was like, this thing hasn't been looking as clear this whole episode. We had another just stop tweeting. What was it? Was it the trade? What was it? We had another one. I know.
I can't remember. I sent it yesterday. I don't know. Do some filler. Let's talk about Kyle Korver because I just saw the position he was named to. He got it was
player development. It was like head of player development.
They created a new position for him, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Hawks. If you missed it yesterday, Sham Charania reported that the Hawks have hired Atlanta legend Kyle Korver, the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. Sorry, Steph Curry, to whatever you just said, the head of player development. He shot 46.5% from three as a member of the Hawks from 2012 to 2016. Memorably made that All-Star game as the team that won 60 games for the Hawks. So, I mean, I definitely think you see the Hawks like kind of trending in a direction where they're trying to get younger in the front office, really trying to get players in that front office that have great relationships with current players right now. I think that's a big goal. Landry Fields, what he's been known for is for having, great relationships with current players. I think Kyle Korver is known for the same thing. So I definitely think this is a trend you're going to keep seeing, and happy to have Kyle back.
So I found
he just looks like a cool guy.
So David O'Brien tweeted, the Braves took two right-handers with their first two picks, and somebody and it's a pretty long, tweet, and it says this about them and that about them, and this guy just tweets at him and says, "That's it. They know Soroka is done." Both of these guys are also high schoolers. They drafted them right out of high school. So
starting against the Angels on Friday or something. Yeah, like shut up, God. Some of y'all are so dumb.
Good stuff.
Not if you listen to this show. If you listen to this show, you're obviously very smart. But no, what are you fucking talking about, dude? You think this 17-year-old kid is pitching Friday? Like, that's not how the MLB draft works at all.
Seeing some of those high schoolers in the draft was so weird. They don't even look like high schoolers. They look closer.
Matt Holliday's son looks like he's like 12. Yeah, he looks like a little kid.
I just love how
I'm sure he's like 6'4", but
I just love how in every sport, it's just like they're players like past legends' sons that are just getting drafted, not like top five, especially in baseball. Like baseball more than any other sport, I feel like you just see like five first rounders each year were sons of like some player that already played in the MLB, and Matt Holliday and Drew Jones, which let's talk about that for a second. I was really surprised Drew Jones didn't go number one overall. That's where I would have gone.
Jack Leiter last year.
Yeah, I mean, you see it every year. How about Kumar Rocker going 3 overall? That was pretty interesting, especially
if you want to talk about good athletes. That's 3 because Tracy was a fucking beast.
Yeah, So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a wild draft, but I mean, the MLB draft. I mean, I know you like to do some stuff on it, Jake, and I like seeing who we got and like seeing the scouting report after the fact. And then I like keeping an eye on them, for the rest of it because they'll be in the minor leagues, for the next couple months, ending this season, see what they do, and then pay attention to them really hard next year. But it's such a crapshoot, to be honest. The Braves have been fantastic at it. We've had so many guys already make an impact over the last couple of years, but that's atypical. Like that doesn't usually happen. You don't usually get a guy, Spencer Strider, make the majors in 2 years and be an NL Rookie of the Year. You don't usually get a Michael Harris, who's like an all-star caliber player in the third round, and he's in the majors by the time he's 21. Like that just doesn't happen. The Braves have just been fantastic in the draft. Usually these guys come out and they never even make an impact. I mean, half the first round this year will probably make little to no impact at the major league level. So the Braves, they've been great at it. Hopefully they can hit on these guys because that farm system is barren.
The MLB draft is so funny in that way, just because like every player that gets drafted is like, oh, he has the power. He's going to have the power of prime Barry Bonds, and he's going to be the fastest player in the league. Every player is the best player in the world, which is so funny to me because you can't really be proven otherwise for at least like 3 to 4 years. And if they're a high schooler, like 5 years. So
it is hilarious.
Congrats to everybody gets an A+. Congrats. Everybody nailed the draft, as always.
It is hilarious to see these high school kids' stats, even in the middle of the first round. Like these kids are hitting 600 in high school. They're putting up video game numbers. It's hilarious. And then their contact bat is like 25. It's incredible. It's so crazy.
The kid the Braves drafted had like a 0.12 ERA. I think he gave up 1 run in like 60 innings.
He gave up 1 run.
It's hilarious.
And then the next guy they drafted and with the 35th pick, I think had a 0.7 ERA, and he gave up like 2 runs. And we were like, oh, not 1 run. Really big drop off. Really big drop off. I mean,
Kyle Muller threw like 4 perfect games like in the playoffs or some shit, didn't he? In Texas.
Oh, that guy. Well, that one guy, the one guy that we drafted, what was his name? Owen. What was it? The guy from
Owen Murphy. J.R. Ritchie.
Owen Murphy. He had 4 no-hitters and 2 perfect games his like final year. 4 no-hitters and 2 perfect games. So it's just like not even fair. But it is funny. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember there was like, I think one guy when I played high school baseball that we played against like a couple times a year. And like, he threw like 95. And like, it was just like a shit show, like on the mound. Like you trying to hit 95 at like 16 years old. Like you have no chance. I think one guy hit a bomb off of him and it was like, oh my God, did he just do that? Like, it was like a heroic moment. Like it needed to be in a movie. Like, because it was like strikeout. Like that's what it was. So I can only imagine what these guys who are going in the first round were like. I don't know what that guy ended up being drafted.
It's so hilarious when you think about their fucking competition. Like, their competition was like guys like me when I was 17, and I was even fucking skinnier when I was 17. Like when I used to go, I went against Cole, and like he struck me out on 3 pitches. I barely took the fucking bat off my shoulders. He was hucking like 97. I was just like,
yeah, they're playing kids who are going to Oglethorpe to join a fraternity. I mean, that's who they were playing in high school.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I was like 5'5", like 150 as like a junior. Like,
damn,
I didn't like
chunked. Damn.
Yeah, I was like a chunky. I might not have been a junior. Maybe like sophomore year. Like, I don't know. Like, there was some point like in the middle. I guess junior would be a little too high. But yeah, like it was like, yeah, like you're playing me. Like, and if you're like well developed, like a 6'3" guy, like throwing 95, like, bro, I got no chance. I can't even get my bat off the shoulder. Like, there's no chance. You want to talk about whether I can get a hit, whether you can get a hit in a major league game. Like now, maybe like I feel like because I'm like a full grown man, but at 5'5", hell no, there's no way I'm touching this ball. I'm squatting down and hoping for the walk. I'm gonna turtle.
The hope that I always have, or the joy that I get in the MLB draft, is I always just like I have my guys, and I just sit around and pray the Braves take one of them, so I can like take a lap and be like, oh yeah, I know all about this guy. I wanted Ben Joyce out of Tennessee so bad, the guy that throws 105.
That would have been sick. Dude,
he would be in the majors by the end of this year. Tell me he would.
Dude, he probably would. Like, why would you not take a guy like that? Like, if you're the Braves, like, oh, we need a righty relief.
He throws 105.
Yes, fuck, dude. Yeah, fuck, like trading for one. Like, let's get Ben Joyce. Let's just draft this guy. I mean, that's probably not the right way to be looking at things, but fuck the right way sometimes. Like, give me this 105 guy, and he's going to be our righty. He's going to be our Spencer Strider. Like, they talk about moving him back to the relief. No, Ben Joyce. This guy's throwing 105.
I think MLB teams.
This guy hit 400, like he's gonna have to adjust. No, dude, you throw 105. There's no adjustment. Go out there and throw 105. You'll be fine.
And you know what? I'm not even gonna pitch him until I'm only gonna pinch him against crappy teams that you will not see in the playoffs. So that no one sees him until the playoffs, right? So oh yeah, you haven't seen 105 before. Oh, here it is in the postseason, and then it's just boom, boom. Because because it's going to take at least one time. You're not going to hit 105. I don't care if you're a major league hitter. You're not going to hit 105 the first time you see it. It's just not happening. You've never seen it before. You're not going to hit it. It's 5 miles over the max pitch you've seen.
I mean, MLB teams could see some guy throwing 95 in a grocery store, throwing toilet paper 95 miles an hour, and they would sign him, just be like, well, we'll see. We'll figure it out. He throws 95. And I think that point rides, 105. We'll just figure it out how we go. Just come on over.
That's what I'm saying. And he was there in the third round. I'm like, come on, in the majors in 2 months probably. He could be on the postseason roster.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. I'm honestly surprised because I don't remember who took him, but I don't think it was a team with postseason aspirations.
Angeles.
The Angels.
It was the Angels. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We play those shitheads. What if he was on the mound? What if they're just fuck it, Ben, we need you. I mean, dude, the Angels need.
Because then we can go right back to this podcast. So I hope he is.
Yeah, I hope he strikes out the side, and we can be like, dude, that good guy could have been on our roster for the playoffs. You idiots, didn't want to draft him. I mean, I'm surprised a competitive team didn't draft him, kind of with that thought process. I mean, I know it's so rare for a guy to do that, but he's a college arm. He throws 105. You have to think.
The White Sox did the same thing with Garrett Crochet, and he was also out of Tennessee. Garrett Crochet was on the postseason roster right after they drafted him.
And I remember a lot of people thought he could have been a Brave, so that would have been cool. Let's talk about the trade deadline because that's 2 weeks away now. I've kind of, as we've gotten closer, I've gone from, okay, there wasn't a lot that the Braves need to get, but I think I know what the Braves need to get now. And I don't think it's a question. The Braves need another bat. They need another. I don't really care if it's a lefty or a righty. They need someone that can play in the outfield or be the DH that can replace either Rosario, Duvall, or Acuña. Because 2 of those guys need to be in the lineup every day, and I don't trust 2 of them to break out of the funk that they're in. So I think they need another bat. And if they could somehow pry Josh Bell away from the Nationals and just say, hey, Acuña, sorry, buddy, it was a good run. Literally dump him. I don't even care. Dump him for cash because Azuna's proven to me that he just cannot be a positive WAR player. He has almost 20 homers and he's got -5 WAR. It's not happening. So I'm ready to dump Acuña, whether we just, eat the contract or do whatever. If this team really wants to win a back-to-back championship, I think you got to replace that DH and get a better at bat in the lineup, or at least, get another outfielder to replace Rosario and Duvall, because 2 of those guys got to be in the lineup. I trust one of them to break out of the slump. I don't trust 2 of them.
So, question. I mean, in the playoffs, wouldn't that be less important though? Because you could play Bill and Travis every single day. One DH, one actually play. That way, only one of Duvall, Eddie, or Acuña play in the postseason at least.
I guess no, you're right. I guess I'm kind of forgetting about Wild Bill. But I do trust Contreras, but I'm also a little hesitant on how much I trust Contreras. Is Contreras going to stay hot this whole season? I think he will, but I just think right now, you're leaving the door open for something that you could easily shut with just one swift move. Whether it's Josh Bell, whether it's even a smaller guy, maybe it's just a bench guy that you trust. I just want another option in that mix because I think right now you have the potential for a hole in the lineup, and we don't know how Ozzy's going to come back. So if Ozzy doesn't come back and doesn't look like his normal self, and then you have another hole in the lineup, that lineup's not nearly as deep as it was last year. So I just think you can shut the door, get a Band-Aid for this year, someone that's on a 1-year contract, and really shut the door on this issue. But you are right about Contreras because you could just DH him. I don't know if they'll do that every game, but they might.
I mean, in the postseason, why not? I mean, fuck it, just go. Definitely bullpen help is right there behind you. Probably rivals that for the top need. That's for sure. I still see people saying starter. I still see it. It's insane.
If that's just what kills me is if somebody doesn't go out and give you 7 innings of 2-hit ball and with 1 or less earned runs, then We got to get rid of him. They got to go to AAA. We got to get him out of here right now. Like, calm down. Jesus.
I think bullpen help is like I do think we honestly have one of the best bullpens, if not the best bullpen in baseball. And the deepest bullpen. I mean, guys like Dylan Lee, Jesse Chavez. I mean, those guys have been amazing for us, and they're at the back end of our bullpen. But yeah, if we can get rid of Will Smith, just kick him completely out of the rotation altogether, like I'm all for it. The one thing I'll say about bullpen help is you can never have enough arms, and especially in the postseason when you're throwing these guys multiple innings and every day, you can never have enough arms, and it's usually pretty cheap to get at the deadline. So I definitely think that'll be a target of the Braves. I don't think there's any way in hell we get a starter. I've said this a million times, but this is the best rotation we've had in years. I mean, since the rebuild by far. And we've never once traded for a significant starter outside of Kevin Gausman when we had absolutely nobody. And Gausman at the time was not the Kevin Gausman we know now. He was like a middle-of-the-road pitcher that hadn't really found his stuff yet. So I don't see a starting pitcher at all. Go ahead.
Another thing we got to consider, too, is Kirby Yates has made, 2 rehab appearances now?
Looks good.
So he's approaching a return. He's getting there.
Yeah, and I think he struck out like 3 or 4 batters. So. And like 2 innings. So hopefully that's
couple
something
of 17-year-olds.
Which is absolutely hilarious, bro.
I love the concept
It's so
of,
funny
superstars.
Jacob goes down there and just shits on some teenagers, strikes out like 18 in 5 innings.
How about the news on DeGrom that they dumped in the middle of right as the All-Star game was starting yesterday? The Mets news dumped DeGrom has mild shoulder pain or whatever. And people can act like that's not a big deal, but like that's a big fucking deal. It's they're just pushing his start back. Yeah, it always starts like they're just pushing their start back. Oh, he played catch without any problems. Yeah, he played fucking catch. Like, could he throw 100 off the mound tomorrow? That's when we'll know if there's still some shoulder discomfort. And if there is, then they're going to end up shutting him down probably for the rest of the season. It's that simple. I mean, there's no way if he has any kind of real shoulder discomfort while pitching that they'll try to pitch him again. He'll be done.
I'm going to push back on that because he does have that player option, and I would say that they would be more inclined to throw the shoulder off of him than they have been before.
Yeah, but do you think Jacob deGrom would? I think deGrom would be like, nah, fuck that.
Probably, but I don't think the Mets.
Plus, he wants to be a
not
Brave.
With how well they're playing.
Plus, we know he wants to be a Brave. So,
Definitely.
He's probably like, nah, I'll just opt out and join the Braves and then then help them three-peat.
I feel bad for the guy. I mean, I don't feel bad for the team or the fan base, but I feel bad for the guy. He can't catch a break. He's a lot like Soroka. It's hard to say that. I always do that where I'm like, oh, I feel bad for him, and then somebody brings up the fact that he's making $40 million.
See, Soroka makes me feel bad because he hasn't gotten paid. Soroka makes me feel bad because he's losing out on these huge contracts that he probably would have had, where he would have gotten paid $200 million or $150 million, or at least, $100 million, 9 figures. Like, he would have made a shit ton of money in this league for a long time, and it probably could have equaled like $500 million over the end of his career. And at this point, there's a good chance he might make 10, 5, So that's what makes me sad about that, because you're watching a guy's entire career at 23 years old go down the drain. DeGrom at least got, $175 million, and it has the opportunity to opt out of a $35 million contract next year if he wants to. So at least he's like made his cash and still coveted around the league. Soroka might lose his whole career.
Yeah, that's true. He's still he could get shut down for the rest of the season, opt out, and he's still going to get, $30+ million a year AAV on his new contract.
Yeah. By the Braves, baby. I'm still holding out. I'm still holding out hope. All right, let's do some predictions here before we move on to some other stuff that happened for the second half of the season with the Braves. Jake, give me, I don't know how many predictions. Give me 3 semi-boldish predictions for the second half, or as many as you
absolutely putting me on the spot here. Alex, you go first. I have not thought about this at all.
I
haven't thought about this at all.
Because I wrote this question, so I can go first.
I got one. Spencer Strider solidifies himself as the number 2 in the rotation.
Okay. I like that. I'll go. I mean, this isn't even bold, but I'll say it's bold because it's opposite of what I've said about a lot of times the Braves running away with the division. I'll say the Braves win the division on that last weekend series against the Mets. That's when they clinch it. I think the Mets make moves. I think the Mets make some big moves. I already said on the last spot, Wilson Contreras replacing at catcher. I think they add 2 bats and a relief arm going into the second half of the season, and they make this division very close. And I think we win it and really crush their souls heading into the postseason. Both teams make the postseason, but we win the division on that last series.
I'm going to say Matt Olson finishes just shy of 40 home runs, 38, 39, and just shy of 60 doubles, around 57, around that number. Because he's heating up, and he's at 17 right now. I think he could get closer than we really thought to start the season.
I like the home run total. If he gets that home run total with the double, that would be just an unbelievable run of just. I do agree he's heating up. I think 30 is a given. I would say 35.
He'll get 13 more home runs. Yeah, 35. I think 35 is closer.
I like 35, 38. That's bold. But if he gets 38 and comes close to 60 doubles, like he would have just broken the franchise record for extra base hits. I think is 94. So yeah, that would be an unbelievable.
Season. Hell, he's getting. Man, he's getting there. Like
here, I got one.
He's on pace for 34 and 56 or something like that. So he might break it anyways, even without that.
I got one, and this is kind of piggybacking off of Chase wrote about this, is that Dansby and the team hammer out an extension before the end of the year.
Like Darno and Morton, we got those right before the playoffs.
That would be super, super nice if we could lock Dansby up. And for those of you guys who didn't read that article, it was a report from John Heyman basically saying, what the Braves did last year was offer their best offer right after the trade deadline on August 2nd to Freddie Freeman. He expects him to do the same thing for Dansby Swanson. But hey, listen, if Swanson's greedy and wants the most money, the smartest thing for him to do if he bets on himself is to just, bet on himself and, go to unrestricted free agency. But if he wants to be in Atlanta, the Braves, like we've said a million times, Jake, we're going to give him a fair offer. Like it's not going to be some BS crappy offer. Like it's going to be a fair offer. If he wants to be here, I do think that will happen. I'm going to go bold too. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. Austin Reilly, I think he wins the MVP award. I think the Braves win the division. I think he stays hot. I think his toughest competition is going to be Paul Goldschmidt. But I think at the end of the year, we're going to look up and Austin Riley is going to be hitting 300 with 45 homers. And, the WAR stuff, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's a little behind someone in WAR because of his defense. But I just think when you see 345 bombs, close to 50, that's going to make people vote for him as MVP, especially if the Braves win the division.
Yeah, he's not a liability on defense. So that's enough to win that's enough to win the MVP. You don't have to be.
It's just the stupid WAR stats. Like some guy picks up.
Unless it benefits my argument, then defense matters.
Well, you just go look at he's having a hitting wise, just as good a year as a lot of these guys outside, not named Paul Goldschmidt. He's having a way better hitting year than Nolan Arenado. But Nolan Arenado plays Gold Glove defense, and you're going to tell me Nolan Arenado is more valuable. I don't think that's true, but that's what the F4 is going to tell me, which is why I'm not a huge. It shouldn't just be who has the higher WAR, who wins MVP. I just don't agree with that. If your team goes in, wins a division, you hit 300 with 45 bombs, and you're not a liability on defense. I agree, you should win. That's what we saw from Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's not a good defender. He doesn't lead the league in WAR. So, but yeah, I think
I want to mention this too. This is something that I just kind of remembered in the past few days. I wrote an article on this last year. We keep forgetting that Max Fried just goes absolutely unconscious every single August. He has a 0.6 ERA in the month of August over his career. He just goes insane, lights out. I'll have to look up the exact numbers, but it is ridiculous. I'm actually going to look it up right now. So I think Max Fried is going to make a little more Cy Young noise. I don't think he's going to win it.
Yeah, but, I was going to say Sandy Alcantara. He is so filthy. He is filthy.
I love him, dude. I hate that he plays for the Marlins. I absolutely love him.
Yeah, that was so sneaker. Go ahead.
I actually wrote an article about an extension for Fried, I think last year, and I compared it to Alcantara's that he just received from the Marlins because they're kind of on the same, year path. And Alcantara, everyone wants to talk about, Acuña got robbed, Ozzy got robbed. You know what Alcantara got an extension for? 5 years, $45 million. Like, give me a
That's
fucking break.
he's probably. I think he should win the Cy Young this year, personally.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's been the best pitcher in all of baseball.
In August,
Clayton Kershaw got the start. Go ahead.
Yeah, for his career, he has a 2.22 ERA in August, and I think over the last 2 or 3 years, it's like a.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember he's blossomed, and I do remember his second half last year. I think he had like a 1.7 ERA over the whole second half. Yeah,
I'm gonna look for 2022.
And then 2020, he had a 2.25 ERA over the whole year. It was the COVID shortened year. So yeah, I mean, I think Fried definitely has the chance to make some noise and win the Cy Young. But Alcantara, he's going to have to fall back a little bit because he's been, not even human. He's not even on this planet. And what's crazy about both of those guys,
I think Sandy's going to win it.
What's crazy about both those guys, and neither of them are huge strikeout guys. Like, they both have ridiculously nasty stuff, especially Alcantara. But like, they pitch to contact. That's why Alcantara goes 8 innings like every game, because he pitches to contact. It's just like he just gets a ton of sink on that like 100-mile-per-hour like sinker fastball 2-seamer thing he's got going, and he gets a ton of ground balls.
From August on last year, so from August to the end of October in the regular season, Max Fried made 11 starts. He went 7-0 with 2 complete game shutouts, and over 74 innings, he gave up 12 earned runs. It's ridiculous. Yeah. His whip was like sub 7. Sub 8. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm expecting a big first half, and I think we might have already almost seen it. I always say Max Fried has a stretch every year where he's like 2 months where he's almost unhittable. He was like that already this year. We'll see if he can do that again in the second half of the season. He kind of entered shaky, but hey, dude, the All-Star break can do a pitcher wonders. I hope he's on the mound for the first game of the season, but I don't know if he will be. Or for the first game. I would love to see Fried and Ohtani in that first game coming out of the break, but we'll see. Moving on to Hawks, DeAndre Hunter, not close. $20 million apart on an extension. So that doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't see any way of that happening. It looks like he's looking probably something closer to 100 mil. And I bet 80 to 100 mil. And the Hawks probably are around 60 to 70 at max. So I don't see that happening.
I figured they offered him something like what they offered Kevin Huerter, which I think is about what he's worth right now. It's just ridiculous to me, man. Like, I had so many people so upset when I was even just suggested maybe trading Cam and DeAndre Hunter. Now Cam Reddish is gone. Now DeAndre Hunter wants way too much money. And now, we're going to keep our young core together. Well, the young core didn't work out, and now one of them is already gone because he was a malcontent, and one wants $100 million, and he's not worth that. So
to be fair with all this, though, both sides are right. Like, the Hawks shouldn't pay that, and DeAndre Hunter, if he believes in himself, which he does, is worth that. Like, if we got the DeAndre Hunter that we've seen, those flashes, he's worth that much money, like $20 million a year. He just averaged 22 against the Heat. So he is worth that. He's just never put it all together. It's injuries, inconsistencies, the COVID year. Yeah, so both sides are right, I think, in the negotiations. The Hawks should not pay that right now. He's an unproven commodity, in my opinion. And DeAndre Hunter believes in himself. So, you got to like it both ways. And this happened with John Collins, too, and the Hawks were still able to retain him. He's a restricted free agent next offseason, so it's not like the Hawks aren't going to have a chance to match whatever other team, gives him an offer. So it's not that.
Yeah, the Hawks are in a position to just lowball. Like being that he is a restricted free agent, they're in a position to lowball. So there's no reason for them not to lowball. Like, there's no reason for them to give in at any point because they can match anything that he, produces, unless they think he's going to go off and average 25 a game and then get him at a discount for what he's offering. But they're in a position to lowball. So unless Hunter comes down and wants that security, I don't see a deal getting done. Then we had the most Falcons thing ever happen yesterday. Eddie Goldman, who we all were super excited. Like, probably the one time since we brought the podcast back, I think the only Falcons thing we've really talked about is like Eddie Goldman, getting signed over the last month. It's like the only thing that's happened. And within 2 weeks, he decides to retire. He decides to hang it up. He probably walked into the Falcons facility, said, nah, this ain't it. Got the F out of there. Hangs it up at 28 years old. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one except for just that's just how the Falcons have been. That's the epitome of what the Falcons have been for the last 5 years. It's just disappointing.
Can't really say I blame him.
I don't even know why. Maybe we'll figure out why he decided. Like maybe he has an interview and he's like, yeah, man, I walked into the facility and it was just shit that I didn't want to do. Arthur Smith started talking. I was like, this guy's corny, and he just was done. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's just for personal reasons or whatever. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the organization itself, but it just feels like at this point, like we're just a laughing stock. Like every 5 years, I mean, for the last 5 years of this organization have just been so piss poor, so pathetic, and it just couldn't get any more embarrassing. I just think it's happened in the most embarrassing fashion. From the way Julio like is on Skip and Shannon, one of the worst shows on television, and just outs us to the whole.
Oh, I'm out of there. I'm out of there.
To us mishandling, to the Deshaun Watson saga. I mean, just the whole damn thing. Like this organization is just plagued from top to bottom, cursed. But yeah, I just, what's next? You know what's coming next? This is just a sign of what's coming next. We're going to start Desmond Ridder, and he's going to look like Nathan Peterman. It's just that is what's next for this organization. That is where we are headed. The good news is if that happens, we're at least going to get a top pick again, and maybe we can get out of here with something. But it's disgusting where this organization is.
It's dark times for Falcons
I've never
fans.
been less excited about the team. Like last year, new coach, whatever. Never been less excited.
I don't even know what is there to be excited. Like who would I look at?
Kyle
Pitts, I guess, and AJ Terrell.
Like
it's hard to get super excited about like a defensive player that they're just not going to throw to. They're just going to be like, yeah, we're not going to throw to this guy, so we're going to pick on those two safeties.
Lineman, really.
Drake London will give similar vibes as Kyle Pitts. Like, I'm sure he'll have rookie struggles, but then he'll have games where he puts up 100 yards and you're like, ooh. So I think it's going to be a dark year for Falcons fans, that's for sure. But there will be some highlight plays. I mean,
but next year we'll get Calvin Ridley back. Woo!
Next year, free agency is going to be popping. I mean, $100+ million.
Yes. Well, finally, for the first time in like the history of this site since we like started it in 2015, we'll actually have money to spend.
We haven't had an ounce of cap space ever since we've been writing about this.
No, it's like the free agents have been like bargain bin free agents for the 6th year in a row. Like, let's who can we get for $2 million that won't suck? Oh, basically nobody. It's just like, and then like we'll write about like one guy. We'll be like, oh, maybe Jadeveon Clowney will come back to Atlanta, like
for $2 million.
It's like, and then Deshaun Watson finally gave us some hope. Like, oh, Jarvis Landry, Leonard Fournette. Oh, we got a squad. Nope. Fuck you.
Well, I guess
what about Lenny?
Fournette anymore because apparently he's fat. So
I actually saw him running with like Jamar Chase on Jamar Chase's Instagram story. And I was like, damn, he's a fucking big boy. But then I'm always like, Leonard's always been just a big ass man, bro. I don't even think it's that big. I think Leonard like probably typically runs like 240, 245 during the season.
I was just about to say he's not. I didn't think he was that far below 260 whenever.
Yeah, so like I mean, if he like, dude, I mean, he could probably drop 10 pounds and like once he starts. I mean, a lot of these guys, especially, they go into camp like a little heavier because they're in the heat of the summer. I mean, he's in fucking Tampa Bay, bro. Like if he's working out in Tampa Bay and even just practicing, like he's gonna drop 5-10 pounds in just a matter of a few weeks. So I mean, I remember Najee Harris, like the same, like he came into camp at Pittsburgh, I think, or OTAs or whatever, like, and he was like close to 250. And people were like, oh, is like he out of shape? He's like, bro, I came in at 250 last year too. Like, he's like, I come in like 10 pounds heavier because I'm like going to lose that 10 pounds going into the year and like during the season and stuff like that. So I don't want to be, he's like, the last time I was 235 was like when I was in college. Like that just hasn't happened.
So it's definitely different too. These guys are superhumans, literally superhumans. It takes a normal person like us 6 months to drop that weight, and it takes these guys, just like you said, a couple of weeks. Leonard Fournette's
we were out there in
superhuman as even with pads, it would not. Our metabolism isn't even close to what these guys are. Not even close.
Yeah, I mean,
they're superhumans.
True, but like, dude, these guys can. Yeah, I mean, these guys can drop weight like nobody's business. I mean, it's just ridiculous to get that upset about. I would not be worried about Fournette, but I will say that guy's always kind of been like, get his bag, act a little out of pocket. ever since he was at LSU, he was like flaunting cars. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Stop that, bro. Because this was before NIL. Like, man, I know you didn't come. I know where you're from, Leonard. You do not have the money to be buying that car, son. But yeah, Falcons. It looks like it's going to be another rough year. All right, let's end the episode. SEC.
That was our Falcons talk. How fat Leonard Fournette's gotten. I love that.
He looks like Eddie Goldman out there. Maybe he can play DT.
Booger Nation.
Let's end the episode. We had SEC Media Days, so I want to play a little game of over-under because I know we will be having probably our own separate shows as a part of the Sports Talk ATL podcast when college football comes back, where we'll dive into each week's slates. I know we kind of did them for like 15 minutes, but I really want to get into those. So when college football is back, we will have some big gambling shows. But let's get into some over-unders for the SEC this year. Alabama, 11 wins, over-under. That's basically, are they going to have a perfect season? I'm going to go under. I'm just going to play devil's advocate.
Alabama's not losing.
As I said on this last podcast last week when we talked about Alabama, I do agree. They probably are the best team in the country. I know it's a revenge year. I think that a lot of people are making that out to be too much. They struggled with so many teams last year, and they still lost players. I just think they could lose a game this year at LSU, come to Death Valley. I mean, they've only beaten us there like 10 times in a row. We're due. We're due to win a game against them at home. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's no way. I mean, Texas A&M in Alabama. Auburn at home. Yeah. At LSU is probably their toughest game. That's pretty sad.
So their early odds are like -16 against A&M, and they're -16 against us too. So watch out for them Tigers.
Arkansas, over under 7 wins after going 9-4 last year.
I'm going to go under.
I'm not buying Arkansas. I like KJ Jefferson.
He's so bummy. I think he's so bummy. I don't think KJ Jefferson's good. Also, Sam Pittman looks like an Arizona. He looks like a hog. So that I'll go over because their head coach looks like their mascot. I'll go over.
I would follow Sam Pittman into the gates of hell, man. That guy is a natural born leader. Like, he really is. Like, he could fire up the boys like nobody's business. And I think there's a lot of value.
Do they open with Cincinnati? I see Cincinnati here on their schedule.
Yeah, I believe so.
Is that who they open with? That's interesting. Too bad they don't have the great Desmond Ridder leading them. They might be able to beat the Hogs.
Best quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I like over there. I like Sam Pittman. I don't really know too much about their team. I like over simply because Sam Pittman's the GOAT. Auburn, over under 6 wins. That is disrespectful as shit.
Under, and I don't think – yeah, go ahead, Jake. Whatever you're going to say.
They said they're going to beat LSU on this thing.
I don't think
he's not going to even make it.
That's some disrespect. Is TJ Finley starting for him this year?
Yes.
Zach Calzada.
Yes.
No, Zach Calzada.
They're projected to both play. I mean, first of all, that coach is not going to make it to week 6 or week
Calzada
7.
was actually pretty decent though.
They should have fired him last off season, and
he's better than TJ Finley, bro. TJ Finley's the worst quarterback.
Going under.
Y'all remember that Alabama Auburn game?
TJ tough schedule.
Let's see their losses. We got Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, A&M, Alabama. I like them losing all. I can't believe they put LSU as a win here, and they put Arkansas as a win. This guy must just.
Did they say Ole Miss?
I don't buy either of those. No, they have Ole Miss as a loss.
Okay.
They also have Penn. They also have Penn State as a win. There's no way.
No, they're not. I don't know about that, man. I'm gonna go under.
Yeah, I'm under.
I'll go over.
But the only thing is, go ahead.
I'll go over just because I think Auburn's a really tough place to play, and I think they'll pull off some wins at home.
That's fair.
Here's the thing with Auburn, too. Every time everybody thinks Auburn's dead in the water,
yes,
Auburn's going to be dog shit. They come out and peel off 10 wins. They do it all the time. That year that they beat Georgia and Alabama, I'm pretty sure they were projected to be like next to last in the West. Like,
yeah, I mean, but when they got Cam Newton, they were like unranked, like projected to win 4 games. Like Cam Newton comes in, they win the national championship. Like you never know with that team.
It's always the opposite. And then the next year when they're all hyped up, they won like 3 games and Gene Chizik got fired.
I think Harsin is going to have a year similar to Ed Orgeron had in his final year at LSU. I mean, he'll be gone before everybody will be like, "Oh yeah, never mind. He's getting fired." I think they win 5 games.
But I respect Harson for him getting that, getting those hot chicks.
Good for him. Being horny is not illegal in this country.
What you don't know about Harson just like getting with like his like with his workers like that are just absolute bombshells.
He brought him from Boise.
He literally is Orgeron.
He literally is. He brought these chicks there, and they're absolute bombshells. You got to look them up.
What?
Oh my god, you got to read about this, bro. You didn't know this? He was about to get fired this offseason, and they decided to like stick with him.
Well, I knew he was getting fired, but I thought it was just because he was a shit coach and shit.
No, he only had one.
Have you been living under a rock? This is a huge thing for like a week.
And like, dude, this
well,
is
his
all
defense.
over Twitter.
I know the turmoil surrounding the program. Like defensive coordinator hired, then left for a lesser job, lesser money. So I thought it was just
Austin
him
Davis
being
went to Seattle too. Quarterbacks coach OC.
So he literally is Coach O. Like Coach O got that bag and decided like I'm just gonna go chase 20-year-old tail. And listen, I give you credit. Like get the bag and go. And you know what else is great about Coach O is like Coach O has no interest in going and getting another job. He's like, bro, you just bought me out for like $35 million. Like I'm just gonna go live on the beach and take that cash. Like why would I go get another job? Absolutely hilarious stuff from both Harson and O. But I'm going to go over. Florida is over under 7 wins. 7.
That's high. There are some.
You think that's high?
Vandy. I mean, it's high for what I thought the number would be, but I mean, I don't think they're. Oh, they opened with Utah. I think Utah might give them an ass whooping. I'm on ass whooping watch for that game.
I'm going over.
The SEC sucks.
Yeah, dude, they can beat Tennessee. I mean, they're going to lose.
They can beat Tennessee. They're going to beat Vanderbilt. They can beat South Carolina. They can beat Missouri. God, why the fuck does this guy have LSU? This guy has LSU losing every game. Every time I look at a team that plays LSU, they have win LSU. Like what are we? Chopped liver? Like god damn. Like we got the best coaching hire out of all these assholes.
I think they'll finish with 7. Honestly, like I'm like them as a projection. I think that's about where they're going to be.
They also play Florida State. That's a dub.
Oh yeah,
I'm going over.
Jesus, man.
Georgia. Oh, dude, Georgia's over under is higher than Alabama's. That's wild.
Yeah, what? Dude, they play in the East.
Wait, hold on. So it's at 12.
It's 11.5.
11.5. I say over. I think they're going to go 12-1. I don't think they're going to lose a regular season game and then they'll lose.
Yeah, but it's all regular. Yeah, it's all regular.
Yeah, big whoopie
SEC championship doesn't count.
That's basically a Mickey Mouse.
It's
a Mickey Mouse league over in the East. It's a Mickey Mouse league over in the East. It's a joke.
I mean, I will say that this year is like not. It's like this year. I wouldn't say the West is like significantly better. I mean, they all kind of.
Yeah.
The rest of the SEC is like. I mean, I do agree. Like over the last 5-10 years, it hasn't even been close. It's been a Mickey Mouse league. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not like super impressed with Arkansas. I'm not even that impressed with A&M. Like, we'll see if A&M's good, but
I think Georgia goes 12-0. I think Bama goes 12-0 as well. So I would take both of them.
It kind of depends with me. I mean, I think Georgia's offense could definitely be just as good as it was last year. I still don't love Stetson Bennett. I think you can lose a game with him. It kind of depends how that defense turns around. I mean, they're just going to reload, but sometimes it does take a little bit to look as dominant as last year. So if they make Stetson Bennett,
you can lose a game when the toughest game is going to be at South Carolina or at home against Tennessee.
I mean,
they don't have Bama.
I mean, Oregon, Oregon, who knows? Who knows about Oregon?
Oregon may be in a year or two, but I think they're going to roll Oregon. I think the spread's a lock in that game. I think they're going to dog out Oregon. No pun intended.
I mean, they should. But
I
mean, you do have
Stetson Bennett's getting
those.
They're winning in spite of their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Bennett's not good.
We're not getting into this. We're already at an hour. Let's keep it rolling.
Why? There's no. I mean, Bennett's just not a good quarterback. He
isn't a good quarterback.
He's not even close.
Y'all are LSU fans. You wouldn't know good quarterback play if it bit you in the ass.
You're right. We just had the greatest quarterback in college football history.
Like Miles Brennan is a significantly better quarterback than Stetson Bennett.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't have a ring, so.
Well, he also has a
Yes, he
ring.
does.
Conversation's
yes,
over.
He does.
Yeah,
yes,
he actually does. He actually does have a ring.
He was Joe Burrow's backup, Bubba.
Kentucky over
really
under.
There.
Kentucky over under 8.5 wins. Dude, he came in and
played the whole second. Man.
He played the whole second half against Oklahoma.
So high. 8.5.
Dude, I want to say over, but if I keep saying over, that it's impossible for all of them to
Eventually, these teams have to beat each other. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, eventually.
But they don't. Like, look at this. Look at this. look at these 8 wins they have. And I think these are very easy won games. Miami of Ohio, Youngstown State, Northern Illinois, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Louisville. Like those are 8 wins probably right off the bat. Now they just have to beat one of Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, or Georgia.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Well, you can take the last one off of there. I guess I'd have to say over as well.
LSU over under 7 wins. I'm embarrassed by first of all, over under 7 wins. Like there is no doubt in my mind we're winning. We're winning at least 8 games. No,
do y'all play an opener? Like, do y'all have like a big opener?
Florida State, bro. We're fucking Florida State in the house. We're dominating them. Dude, listen, like
if you guys lose to Florida State, you're actually gonna have to block my number if y'all lose to fucking Florida State.
We got Florida State, dude. Like this is like an easy. We have 6 freebies. Florida State, Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, Tennessee, UAB. Those are the wins that he gave us. And then he has us losing at Auburn, at Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas, at Texas A&M. We're not losing all those games. We're not losing all those games. Like you're basically saying we lose to every one of our rivals. That is what you're saying. We go 0-5 against our rivals, bro. We haven't done that. Even when we went 6-6, we like beat Florida. We'll beat somebody. Like that's just. And also, like, I don't know how we're not giving credit to like Brian Kelly. Like the guy's just won everywhere he went. Like you think we're gonna just go out there and just like look like shit? I don't care if it's his first year.
There's good players on the roster, and Brian Kelly's going to give you fucking 8 games. Like that's
I think 8 games is a success. Like first year, we've got.
I think 9
games.
Of our I think starters. 8 games is expected to me. 9 would be
not in the first year, dude. We got 16 transfers like starting. That's insane.
Yeah, that's insane. But they're transfers with experience, with a head coach that I have a lot of respect for. That's absolutely dominated wherever he goes. And like, let's be honest,
I'm going over, but I think 8 games.
And you're talking about LSU that's recruited, top 5 recruiting classes. Like there's talent on that roster. Like they're not like
definitely
idiots. So
definitely.
All right, Mississippi. Let's do this.
Mississippi State 6.5.
Under.
I'm not buying Mississippi State, dude. I'm not buying Mississippi State. I don't know what the deal is. I got people saying 7 wins, 8 wins. Not buying it. Under.
All right, Missouri 5.
Under.
Wow. I got them going over.
Who do they play? They have a pretty.
They play Louisiana Tech, Kansas State, Abilene Christian, Vanderbilt, New Mexico State, bro. That's 5 wins right there.
All right, well, there's 5. Okay, well, never mind.
They just have to luck out against someone. Yeah, Kansas State beat our, wide receiver quarterback in the bowl game. It was impressive.
John Trey Kirkland. Yo, me and John Trey Kirkland had lots of classes together.
Ole Miss 7.5. This guy has Ole Miss going 9-2.
Who's their quarterback? Who is their quarterback?
Jackson
This guy has Ole Miss going 9-2.
Great quarterback name, by the way. Jackson Dart, fantastic quarterback name. For that reason, I'm going over. I'll give him 8.
All right, South Carolina 6. I'm going over
Under.
6.
I'm going over.
I like South Carolina. I'm
buying. I'm buying with the
I'm not on
Beamer. I'm buying.
I'm not even going to buy Spencer Rattler. I just think quarterback play in the SEC's, typically down, and I just think I'm buying Shane Beamer. 7.5 wins for Tennessee.
I actually am buying Shane Beamer. I think he'll go over, but they're just way overhyped. I think 6 is a good number for them.
7.5 wins for Tennessee.
Under. Hendon Hooker overrated.
Hendon Hooker really is overrated, but it's just the East, and you play Akron, Pitt, UT Martin, Ball State. You got to go over.
Yeah,
right. You got to go over.
Tennessee is either going to be an overhyped disaster, or they're going to win 10 games.
All right, we got 2 more. Texas A&M 8.5. I'll go over. Fuck it. I'll go under. Over.
I'm going to go under.
I got to pick some unders.
I think they're 1 year. 1 year.
And
they do play Miami.
Vanderbilt 2.5.
Over.
Under. Who's their out of conference game?
Who are those psychos who are betting on Vanderbilt over unders? Like there are people who are doing.
You must hate yourself, dude.
Dude, that's
insane.
Hawaii.
We got Hawaii, Elon, Northern Illinois, and then the rest of the SEC. Wake Forest.
Did you just say Northern Illinois?
Northern Illinois. I mean, I was just reading it, but yeah. Northern Illinois.
I don't know, man. I think they could win 3 games. Surely to
I'm
go.
going
I don't know,
over.
but I'm never gonna.
I'm going over.
I'm not gonna bet on Vanderbilt. So
I'm probably just not going to bet that. I just won't do that time stuff. All right, that wraps up this episode of the Sports Talk ATL podcast. Thank you guys for joining us.